I'm so glad you're here. This is a replay of a live training I did inside the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with Lindsey Vestal, and I wanted to make sure that everyone gets access to it. Pelvic health is such an incredibly fulfilling specialty, and it's growing so much. I've been training OT since 2018, and my goal is to have over 10,000 OTs trained by the year 2030. I'm so glad you're here learning about this specialty. I hope that you can join us in the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with me, Lindsey Vestal. I will link to the group below in the show notes and description. Thank you so much.
Um,
Awesome. I am so thrilled to be talking about sex today with Dr. Sarah Sohn. We're actually, the official title is Let's Talk About Sex, a unique method to talk with our clients and improving their comfort around sex. Sarah, thank you so much for being my guest and for being here. Let's talk about sex.
thank you so much. And what's so fun about sexuality and helping our clients is that it's all about the creativity. It's all about the imagination. It's all about seeing things with the beginner's mind. So I feel like it's serendipitous that we had a little bit of a tech glitch and doing this and reinventing and maneuvering, just like we encourage a sexual wellness. Things don't always have to go as planned to be fantastic.
I love that. Thank you for tying that back into the meta and the micro.
Yes, that's how our brains work.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I am really excited about this conversation on so many levels, and I'm so inspired by your work. I'd love to just kick it off with asking Sarah if you have a model for talking with clients about sex to improve their comfort.
I do. And so much of my work, I love to create my own models, my own spin on things. I find that as health providers, we when we have a glitch when it comes to sexual wellness, I feel like it's often because of an imagination failure. And I know that I'm speaking to a group of experts that already are helping people with sexuality. So what's really fun is that I want to share a model today with you of how you can quickly, easily adopt this, use it with your own clients, and kind of that meta look of how I created my own model so that you can see, oh, that's actually a really cool way to have my own intellectual property to help people feel more comfortable working with me because they know that there's a systems approach. So yeah, this is my life's work. I'm very passionate about it, and I would love to jump into that. Is it okay if I just
Good.
tell you a little bit about the book?
Yeah, we'd love that.
So I know that Lindsey knows me well, but not everyone does. So Danielle, I'm curious if you know me, but I am a pelvic health specialist, just like you all. I'm also a sex counselor and sex educator and quirky. So like this morning, I went swimming with dolphins. Last night, I went on a date. I'm polyamorous. I've been with someone for 17 years and someone for 7 years. I'm queer. I'm pansexual. I had my own healing journey with my own body. I've lost 100 pounds 3 different times. And so kink and sexuality has really helped me to heal my own body, my own spirituality. And I love to infuse the sciency and the fun in play into the work that we do because we have the most fun job ever.
We really do.
So, so how to talk to clients about sexuality? One is, you know, you're going to make a mistake and that's okay. So I'd love to know if you're listening to this and if you're listening to the replay, 1 through 10, where your comfort is already talking to clients about sexuality. 10 is going to be, I'm so comfortable no matter what the topic is. It's not just issues with the tissues, but pleasure, kinks, anything that they bring up to me, sexuality of the same sex or erotic fantasies, anything they bring up, I'm a 10. And 0 is like, down there, like we don't talk about down there. Okay, so 0 through 10, where do you feel like you are in your comfort? I would love to know.
So I threw in a
um
7, Sarah.
yeah, I see, perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to ask one more 1 through 10 question, and this is, how important do you think it is for us to be able to hold conversations about sexuality in the full breadth of sexual wellness. So you can put like the number and then a B maybe. So 0 through 10, 0 being it's not very important at all. Our scope is with the tissues, the issues with the tissues, and 10 being like, this is the most important thing I could possibly think of because I want to subspecialize in pelvic pain disorders just like you did and speak on stages. And this is so empowering and important. So 0 through 10 there. 9. Awesome. 10. Great. So we're all pretty comfortable and we know that there's always evolution and room to grow. And we all have this in common in that this is important in the work that we do. And it's within our scope and it is important in the work that we do. So I'll break down these models and I have 4 that I'm going to speak on and today. So four models, okay? Now, 2 of them you've heard of before, probably if you've taken a sexual wellness program. So I'm going to type them in the chat and I'll say them out loud, but have either of you heard of DUPE or PLISSIT? Do you know what that is?
Yes, I've heard of both.
Cool. So these are models that are typically taught. So I'm going to typically teach them, but I don't use them. So I'm going to typically teach them just so you can be like, okay, crash course on sex counseling. And then I'm going to teach you what I actually use. So PLISSIT is an overall, kind of like an overarching look at how we help people, what's within scope, what isn't. So PLISSIT was also remade by David Taylor. I'm happy to send all this to you to explicit, explicit. Is it okay if I share, since we're doing this a little differently, can I just share my screen?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I can now. Since we're doing this different, might as well take advantage of it.
Exactly.
Hopefully I don't have anything up. That's too the things I talk about online is you never know what
exactly.
Think about permission. This is the most, so if you're going to just focus on one thing, it's permission, and permission is integral in every aspect of this. It sounds like working with every single time that your partner is interested in sexuality, you're kind of not really feeling it. Is it okay if I ask you more questions about that? You know, so permission. Limited information. So I don't know if you're like me. I love to give too much information. I just love it. I love to be like, blah, 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 here's all the things. And that's not helpful. So limited information. I feel like someone wrote this for me. They were like, Sarah, you needed to read this. This needs to be part of the model that you learn 18,000 times, just like we learn. Oh, what was it in PT and OT school with the biopsychosocial model that they teach you like 18,000 times you never actually look at, and you just go back to using a soap note anyway. So your limited information, specific suggestions. If you're going to offer something, you want to be very specific to that person. And then intensive therapy, that would be learning how to screen for those things so we can refer if someone needs intensive therapy for a mental health disorder, right? So this is like an overall big picture how you could look at things. You'll also learn, if you take a program, the DUPE model. So this is a way of taking a sexual wellness history. DUPE, you can take a little screenshot here. I don't know about you, but I never remember acronyms. I never like, I'm gonna take your sexual wellness history. Let me just think of DUPE, but I'm gonna teach it to you. This is developed by Sally Foley. And I think it can help when you're just starting of how to get more comfy. I'm like, ooh, I want to get more comfy. So DUPE stands for description. So you ask, what is the concern? What's the situation? Onset, how long has this been going on? Your understanding, why do you think this happened? Past, what have you tried? And expectations. What are your expectations moving forward? Now, I teach this in a 2-hour workshop. So if you feel overwhelmed at this moment, take a breath. It's okay. Okay. If you're just starting this work, as long as you ask permission and you're starting to ask questions about sexuality, you're 10 times away. Looking for the gift today. If you're already doing this work so much, what is one way you can do something slightly differently? Just look for the gift today, okay? You don't have to, not everything.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. Okay, so here's what I actually use. This has worked better for me, and I created them myself. So when I think of how I'm helping people, I have an overall model in my head. I call it the SEXIER model, and I even explain this to them. So sex is a formula. So good sex or great sex or whatever word is safety. So feeling safe in your body, that's part of pelvic health and things that we do. Eroticism, what's your own eroticism? What, even if society tells you it should be different, what are your erotic turn-ons? You feeling confident in who you are erotically. And then exploration, how do you explore these things? With who? By yourself, with another person, where, when, right? All of those things. So when I'm helping someone, I think, here's all these different tools I can learn. Is this part of safety? Is this part of eroticism? Is this part of exploration? And this is the kind of process that I go through with someone. And I like Dupe and I like PLISSIT, but I created my own model that I think just makes a lot more sense. And this is what I actually use with clients. This is like a good start, especially for your first session, maybe working with a client on sexuality. I call it pause. So we're all going to take a pause and we're going to try on something new together. Is that okay? Permission. Is it okay if we try something new together that maybe we haven't tried before? Permission. Ask, I look at it as the ask rainbow. So I think I just have a conversation. When did it start? What's going on now? Expectations for the future. What are you hoping for? You as understanding, what's your understanding of what's going on? People are really smart with their own bodies. They have a really big understanding, and sometimes they just need to be asked. Specific suggestion. Is it okay? Permission is part of all of these things. Is it okay if I offer a specific, a suggestion here? And then E is my favorite one, exciting. What would make your week better? We collaborate and we have fun. Like my home programs are fun. They're not homework. We don't have to do 3 sets of boring clamshells. We actually have the opportunity to make things really fun. Like I incorporate somatic movements and everything to everything that I do. And so what would make your week better? And so people actually do the thing that we're recommending.
Yeah,
so
it's bringing the joy into it.
Yep. Yes. I love it.
May I ask you a question about pause?
Please.
How so I can definitely see the inspiration behind it, you bringing us through Dupe, bringing us through PLISSIT, and then even showing us the sexier model, and then bringing us to pause. Like, I'm curious, in that process of creating that, Sarah, and adapting those models that some of us are familiar with, was it an immediate step into it, or did you kind of what give us a sense of your timeline when you developed this and how you improved upon it? Just because I think as practitioners, we have clinical intuition. We have this sense of, I was taught this, I'd like to divert from it. And I love this. I love you sharing this with us today, because I think it will help some of us feel even more empowered and comfortable to step into that intuition. So can you give us kind of like a behind the scenes conversation around your development of it?
Yes, thank you for asking. So you, Lindsey, you, Danielle, and you, anybody that's listening to the replay, whether you know it or not, you have a unique way that you help people. And there are certain people that are like the perfect fit that only you can help because of your unique way that you help them. And so I want to give you permission right now that you have your own unique way. And when I gave myself that permission and I started to think, okay, what are my systems? When someone writes a book, they're taking all the things that they learn. I have a lot of interests, just like many of you, right? Like we're all very similar. We're the quirky people with 18 interests that somehow put it together into a business, right? Like, so I was like, how do I take all my interests and put it into ways that people make sense and they feel held with their most vulnerable concerns, right? So, and understand the process. So we all have a method or a system that we're using. And when you name it, when you own it, you're perpetuating the lineage of others, because I get to say, this came from Sally Foley. This, right? I'm perpetuating the lineage of others. I'm not erasing them from their work. Please don't erase me from mine either. Like if you use my model, be like, it's from Sarah. But you're perpetuating a lineage of work. And you start to have your own intellectual property. So when I have my own SEXIER method by Sarah, I have my own pause uh, conversation method that you can use for clinicians. I started to have my own intellectual property that gives me more confidence. It gives me marketing that uses consent and that uses empowering words, right? It gives me really great marketing because I can say, here's my 3-step SEXIER method for my Better Sex by Sarah program. It gives me just ownership of the work that I do. Now, to perpetuate that lineage, I learned this from Kelly Deals, Rachel Rogers, who owns Hello 7 and teaches a similar process. She has a quote where she says, people buy systems, not, I don't want to misquote her. Let me get the quote. People don't buy ideas, they buy systems, right? Like people, that helps them to feel, it helps with our marketing, which is a part of what we do. And from Simon Bowen, who has the genius model and kind of originated this concept. And I teach this now myself of how we can adapt it for ourselves. But it's really important because it helps us to, it's like an accordion. So I use the model for my one-on-one clients. I use the model in my bigger programs. Like I have a big program for my clients called Better Sex by Sarah. And the modules are split up like that, right? It helps me if I do at my own TED Talk, right? So it's like an accordion. I can use it big, I can use it small. And when you take all these different nuggets of things that you learn and you make them your own, it helps your client to know that you are the expert that you are. We're not going to do this if you're not an expert, right? Like you're here because you're an expert already. And it helps you to shine in your work.
Mm-hmm. So what I hear you saying, which I think is really beautiful, is that as practitioners, it helps keep our own thoughts more organized. It gives us the confidence to kind of step into it, knowing that most people, when they come see us, they're already a little bit overwhelmed, feeling vulnerable, feeling a little intimidated. And there is this idea of structure, a structured approach that helps them to feel more comfortable. So again, that quote, it's not an idea, it's a system. And you have a plan for me. And I feel so much more comfortable because you're sharing that plan with me and that you've thoughtfully developed this before I ever walked into the room.
Exactly. It helps people to say yes to working not just on just how much more fun is the
Yeah.
Better Sex by Sarah method, all of these things, then are you having terrible sex with your partner? Right? Like
Right.
this empowering, it gives us empowering
Yeah.
marketing messages and it helps people to say yes to work with us because they feel held in the system that you have curated. Like there was a lot of thought and effort and knowledge that went into curating the systems that I have.
Yeah.
And a big part of the work that I love doing with people is helping health providers to really uncover those systems, is to start to think like, oh wow, I do have my system. You just don't
Yeah.
realize it yet. But
It's interesting, right? Because I almost imagine like if we put a tape recorder in our sessions and just heard what we said all day long and the creative ways that we use to help connect with the client, I bet it would become pretty clear to us what our system is. And we may not think of it as a system, but it's actually there and it's keeping us organized and centered and grounded and inspired, quite frankly. So I applaud you for like taking a step outside of yourself, Sarah, outside of that work that you're doing to be able to see that and then be able to talk about it with such clarity and to also help empower us to see that it's possible that we can create our own systems as well.
yeah, that means the world to me because it's important. It's
Yeah,
important.
I really do think it's important. And you know, I love supporting occupational therapy practitioners, but we often have what I call, I've mentioned this in my podcast, self-doubt Sally, this sense of what else do I need to learn? What else is out there before I can really step into myself? And so I really find this conversation very powerful and grounding in that perspective as well, that actually we have it inside us and maybe taking a step aside to reflect on it could be that thing that helps us step even more into our confidence.
100, 1000%. This is one of the first things I do with all of the clients that I work with, because when you have your own system, you have confidence and
Mhm.
you have social media marketing and you
Yeah.
have um, those juicy, delicious words that are yours, like they're your own, and you just feel so confident of like, yeah, the Danielle system, the 4S model, like to this great postpartum recovery or whatever.
Yeah. That is awesome. Well, I am so sorry that we couldn't do this conversation live. I think that people weren't able to jump over because we don't normally share Zoom links and have these conversations, but I am so incredibly appreciative. I'm definitely going to post this on the replay and as well as all the links of how people can work with you. But would you mind sharing it with us verbally, Sarah, how people can connect with you?
Sure. So I posted a link to resources. I have resources of, I give information freely. So a lot, just like Lindsay does. And so it has a whole technology guide of like,
Mm,
does she use Canva? Does she use Kajabi? Whatever.
awesome.
How to do a self look with the client, like a lot of different resources. And then if you're wanting, and not just information, but a transformation of your own work and how to integrate this, then I would love to work with you. I have a bunch of different things, but the most exciting right now is my 6-month program, the SEX certificate. It's okay, I can like meta my own model for that, for the SEX certificate. But we work together for 6 months. It's all live. It's very like high touch, and you get feedback like on your own methodology, your own
Mm,
workshop, your own social media, because marketing is part of the sexual wellness work that we do. You can't help people unless you market it. So I would love to invite you to that as well. So I'll put the link for the resources. And if you would like to connect with me one-on-one, you can send me a message to see if that works for you, and follow the other links, and it'll lead you to learn more about that program as well.
awesome. And Sarah, if you don't mind, I'm going to post this in just a few minutes on our Facebook group. And in the comments below that, if you could include all that information so it's in one tight container for everybody who is interested. Thank you so much. And I am going to stop recording now and connect with Danielle, who's joined us live, to see if she has any questions. But Sarah, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to share this with us. And thank you for your flexibility with coming over to Zoom.
Anytime. This is really fun. I'll do this again.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. This is a replay of a live training I did inside the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with Lindsey Vestal. And I wanted to make sure that everyone gets access to it. Pelvic health is such an incredibly fulfilling specialty, and it's growing so much. I've been training OT since 2018, and my goal is to have over 10,000 OTs trained by the year 2030. I'm so glad you're here learning about this specialty. I hope that you can join us in the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with me, Lindsey Vestal. I will link to the group below in the show notes and description. Thank you so much.